I'm sorry.
He came in person last time because he said he was having computer problems.
Right, but he wasn't in late getting condition.
How's it going? Good. Hey.
1 minute to spare.
1 minute?
Oh my God, I thought I was looking, my watch says I'm late.
He's on library time, because this is something 7 after there.
Hey, I haven't seen you.
I know, yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, they'll have a copy of your, what you want to do.
Is everyone here? Or
What's that?
is everyone here?
No, we should have one. We got everybody on the board is here, right? Everybody on the board is here. And so we've got Jim Easterling, we've got them, I think we've got everybody here.
If anybody would like to have an agenda, we do have some agendas here. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Culver Board of Zoning Appeals. I can ask everybody to please stand and pledge the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first thing on the agenda, I'd like to have the secretary. We have 2 members of the board that are here by Zoom. And have the secretary, Ms. Marshall, call roll, please.
Mr. Osborne.
Present.
Mr. McManaway.
Present.
Mr. Adams.
Present.
Mr. Eubler.
Here.
Mr. DeWitt.
Present.
And Lee Marchand also present. Everyone is here.
First item on the agenda, again, I would like to get the minutes of the July 16th meeting approved. I entertain a motion to do so.
I'll second it.
Did you hear that, Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Okay. Been moved and properly second, we approved the minutes from the July 16th meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Passed 5-0. Okay, the first petition on order this evening is petition 2020B. It's listed 2 different ways, 2020-009B or 2020B-62667. It's a petition filed by Gary and Nick Butler. Gary, Nick, would one of you like to address what we have and just explain what we have? We all have copies of the
Okay, we have a copy
petition.
of the site plan here. What we propose to do is put just a 10 by 14 storage shed next to our driveway there, in front of our garage. But it will be on the property line, we're close. And we can't really put it in the backyard here, as you see next to the house, because it's a leach bed. As well.
So,
Septic
yeah.
and because of fluids. Yes, that's about it. Is there any questions?
And we'll find out if the board has any questions. The only thing I have, is it going to be a permanent, is it one on, going to have a foundation on it, or is it one?
nothing more than maybe limestone.
I'm sorry?
Limestone?
Okay.
It will be on skids placed on a hard surface.
Yeah, right.
And it's only 160 square feet, so it doesn't have to be anchored.
Okay.
If it were 200 or more, it would have to be.
Oh.
We'll find out if anybody has any questions.
Okay.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Yes, do you know approximately how far away from the house that septic tank is and that leach field runs?
From the patio, it's only about 3 feet. But from the house, it's probably a good 12 feet.
So,
But that's to the septic tank.
okay,
And then from that point all the way out is all leach bed.
okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of mounted up.
So you can actually see where that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, it takes up almost entirely the backyard.
Dan, if I could add, one of the problems that we've got in that area is that we are on a lake, on water, but we don't have any public sewer. So we have to protect that. The hardship would be where their service is. One thing I would like to see added, that if at any time a septic or sewer system would be put around Hawk Lake, that then they would move it to a more appropriate location.
Sure, thank you, Jeff. I wouldn't mind that, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. McManaway, do you have any questions?
No, at this time, I agree with part of what we're talking about. I'm sure, but I know that we have quite a few at this time. We know that sometime in the future, I'm sure. Okay, so since the building is not being put there under foundations, whatever,
Right.
it's going to be hard to move. Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
Mr. Eubler, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, Dan.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Ms. Marshall?
Yeah, my only concern when I went and looked at the property is that there's just this thin space between the Butler's driveway and their neighbor's driveway, and this building is pretty much going to take up that space, not the length of it, but the width of it. I didn't know whether the neighbors had any problem with that coming down their driveway. And I agree that, I should say upfront, I also agree that there should be some requirement that if at some point they can move the structure, that they then be required to move it, if we do agree that it should be there. And I couldn't really hear Barry, but I think he was making the point about it being a temporary structure. Is that, I heard him talking about foundation. Is that the point you were making, Barry?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I do have one more thing to offer, Dan. I know we're looking at it, it's gonna be 24 feet from the front, backyard.
It's 24 feet from the edge of the lane, yeah. Oh, okay, 24,
From the
yeah,
road.
yeah.
Yeah, from the lake. From the
East property line.
The property line, yeah, in the road, everything at that particular road, is going to be on 24 to 25 feet setback.
Bear with me, I can tell you in just a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we have some type of setback on that requirement, and we're on 24, and I wouldn't be encroaching that as well.
Would that be a problem, move that back to 25 feet?
No.
Yeah, we can go back 25 feet, I don't have a problem.
No, I can.
I know it's not, but kind of picky, where you want to put it as far as the ordinance is ready, see it.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Any further questions or comments?
I'm having a little trouble hearing Barry. I just want to confirm that he was asking if they would have a problem moving it to a 25-foot setback rather than 24.
That was his comment.
Okay, thanks.
Barry, maybe you can pull the mask down when you're talking, so
Yeah.
that will help a little bit. I forgot that way we need to sign these things.
I'm not sure we can go on this one.
Yeah.
Are you married? Okay.
No further questions? Are we ready to move to finding of facts?
You need to open public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got our.
I'm not with him tonight. Do we have any comments from the public tonight about this? Questions? Comments? Okay.
So, are your neighbors fine with this?
As far as I know, yeah, they have.
Because otherwise, if they would oppose to it, they would have been here tonight to oppose it.
Absolutely.
Okay, because that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we respect
So to
them.
make sure that you contacted them, they're well aware of the situation and, okay.
Yeah, Dan, when I was there today earlier, I was there taking pictures and doing a visual. The neighbor was out in the yard, knew what I was doing, what I was there for, and didn't appear to have any concerns at that time.
Okay, all right.
Oh, very well, man. We just got everything else ready.
Okay, moving to finding of facts. Remind everybody that if you vote no on any of these three questions, you must vote no on the variance. Question 1. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Mr. Hugler,
Yes.
Ms. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
Mr. McManaway,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Mr. Hugler,
Yes.
Ms. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
Mr. McManaway,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Question 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Mr. Hughley,
Yes.
Ms. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
Mr. McManaway,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. I would entertain a motion that we approve this variance.
I move to approve the variance. This is JD.
My second?
Been moved and properly seconded. Is that you, Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
No, it's Mr. Osborne that seconded. Been moved and properly seconded. We approve this variance with the stipulation, we put the stipulation on that if sewer is, if anytime sewer is located there, city sewer. Then
Put that man down from
okay.
And the 25-foot setback, Dan, I don't know if you include that as well.
Yeah, that, they didn't ask for a variance, they just agreed to it. So
Okay, okay.
we changed it on the plans. Okay, any further discussion? Been moved and properly second. How do you vote on the variance, Mr. Hughley?
Yes.
Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mr. McManaway?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Approve the variance. You may leave.
Thank you
Well
all
said.
so much. Thank you. We appreciate all your help with doing this and invite you all over to dinner one of these days.
We should put that on motion.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
You just need to get your building permit
Oh,
for that, okay?
okay.
And then,
Need a building permit even if it's being built someplace else?
yeah, if it's over 120 square feet or over,
Oh, okay,
which you are, so go, and you can apply for that.
okay. Okay, great, thank you. How do you feel? Good.
Okay, the second petition on our agenda is 2020-010B or 2020-B63683. And I believe Mr. Easterday is going to be presenting this this evening.
Good evening, how are you folks this evening? For anybody who may be online or otherwise, my name is James Easterday, and I'm not sure that everybody picked up the revised plat from your box.
I did.
So I brought some extras along,
You're a good man.
and hopefully everybody online had it. To be real candid with you guys, the plot that we originally filed with the group, it just didn't set right with us. And so they've gone back and they've done a complete, the architect has come up with a completely new plan, a completely revised plan that we think is much better for the property. And I have the architect here tonight, Lori is here, and I have the whole family here tonight. So we have a little civics lesson while we're at it. But the old plan provided for a north setback of 2.6 inches and a south yard setback of 8 feet 6 inches. The new plan that we're proposing provides for a north setback of 8 feet to the farthest extension to the east and 10 feet to the sidewalls, and provides for 13 feet from the south line to the house. And the first thing I would ask if I were looking at this, well, gee whiz, if you've got 2 feet to spare on the south and you've got 2 feet short on the north, why the heck don't you just slide the house to the south side?
Right.
And I can have Lori speak to that, but the short answer is, under the architectural guidelines and the practicality of it, there's no way to make the turn into the garage with the sliding into 2 feet south. What are the requirements for a driveway in that situation?
Needed at the very minimum 28 feet from the upper garage wall to the property line so that you can pull in and swing the car around and swing into the garage and then swing back out and down the driveway. So it's just a matter of a couple feet to meet the minimum.
And so we're asking for that variance so that we can actually get the car in and out. There's no way, no, I shouldn't say no way you can do anything, but I don't see any practicality in trying to back the car down the driveway, because the topography of that lot is just absolutely incredible.
That's very dangerous, Jim. I did that today.
Did you try to stay on the lot?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Tree.
And so we designed it so that you can in fact turn around and go down the driveway. And to do that, in order to get the minimum, we just need that. Now, on the north side, as I indicated, we are 10 feet from the sidewall to the lot line. And the present structure on the house, on the lot, is actually 1.75 feet encroaching on the northeast side neighbor. So we're actually giving ourselves about 9.5 more feet there that we didn't have before. I'll comment on that. I just find it interesting that the house actually encroaches on the neighbor.
Yeah,
And,
not in this area, come on.
yeah, not this area. So that's predominantly what we're looking at. And then on the lake side, we're asking for permission to rebuild or build again the boathouse on the lake side. I looked briefly, and Laura here again can check my work, but looking at the topo map, the rise from lake level to the northeast corner of the proposed house is exactly 30 feet.
How many feet?
30. So the topography there is just absolutely incredible. And when I was out there, it looks like you're looking down on the roof of the boathouse. And I also found today that there's all kinds of trees down out there. So they've had a rough week out there. But we're asking to rebuild that. It will be built somewhat into the bank, but in actuality, the topography is such, there's just no site situation there at all. The only way you'll see that is to look at the roof, quite frankly. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the variance on the north side and to build the roof. And because of the driveway, we're looking for a variance on the impervious. And you can give us some information on the impervious on that.
See my notes on that.
It's on the revised plan that I gave you, and if you can read it, you're better than I am. As I called her and I said, what is it? Why put it on there?
The lot contains 17,326 square feet. So under the rules, we would be allowed 8,663 square feet. But because of the topography of the lot, and with having a driveway to the lower garage as well as to the upper garage, that takes up a lot of our square footage by having to have two driveways. So with the house footprint, the garage, the driveways, the seawall, and the boathouse, we're almost to that 50% without adding in the landscaper steps and the sidewalks. So we don't need much more, but we just need a little bit more to be able to get sidewalks and steps in.
So,
Again, it's just the topography of that lot is so challenging because it goes up and then way down, and then the neighbor to the north is much higher than the neighbor up to the south. So it's very challenging.
didn't your notes say that you were at 49.2% impervious?
We're at that now without sidewalks and steps. So if we can take it to 55%, I don't think we have to go quite that high, but if we could take it to that, it would be really helpful.
Where is the sidewalk?
Well, there will be a sidewalk connecting the east side of the house to the present steps down. I'm sure we're going to have that. And here again, I love to play with numbers, forgive me, but I have a mathematician in the group too. If you take a 7-inch rise on the steps, there's got to be 52 steps in there to get down to the lake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
they don't like that.
I've been there.
But I'm just curious as far as how much sidewalk you're gonna add.
The major portion of the sidewalk will be on the east side there to connect to what goes down the lake.
we don't have the landscaper with us, but from the driveway and then around, down and down to the lake. With as much green space in between as we can manage.
So you're wanting to leave the 55 feet request
55%.
55%.
55%,
In the variant, in the
Yes.
request, okay, because I had marked that up, because I thought you would drop that.
Jim,
Yes.
I'm looking on Beacon here. This was actually the old information.
Okay.
What's that sliver there? That between, yeah, who owns that?
I think this gentleman right here.
Well, Mr. Dr. Smith.
Well, you can call me Eric if you want, but.
Why would I do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know this guy.
Please.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Basically, that's a long story, but all those lots on Long Point are I-shaped, and there was a resurvey 45 years ago, and everybody's lot moved a little bit to the north. That property and the property to the north at one time were one property, and they split them in half. And our property had a stairs going down, which we thought marked the property line. The neighbors to the south said, no, that's our property after the resurvey. So we have a boathouse down there that you can't see on that drawing that's
It is
encroaching.
noted on that drawing.
Yeah, that's encroaching, that's this little stuff right there.
Okay.
And so we have an easement now with the neighbors to the south to have that boathouse there. So that's the easement.
That's all the triangles. You're paying the taxes on it.
Pardon me?
Or you're paying the taxes on that slip.
Actually, I don't think we have been for a long time.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
But I'm not sure.
Not to beat a dead horse, but at some point in time, they determined that the boathouse, a part of it, was on the south property, and they made a friendly agreement to take care of it.
Yeah, and a portion of that, the house that they're replacing was on our property.
Yeah. And
So it's all fixed.
it still is.
For note of record, you are paying $476.66 taxes on that,
On the boathouse.
Sliver?
on that sliver.
And the
Yeah.
It's not known.
Yes.
So they have a factor of 95% or whatever it is.
Right.
That's why I try to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's-
dropping the bucket.
So, not to jump ahead, are you,
I generally support the petition.
okay,
I'm just there
okay,
to.
that's what I wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's a big deal. Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ugler, do you have any questions of Mr. Easterday?
Mr. Easterday, could you run through the height of the boathouse? So I see it's 16 by, in the plan, it's hard to read the revised plan that I picked, or that I have. It looks like the dimensions are 12 by, or 16 by 12, is that right?
Yeah, 12 by 16 is the size. I'm looking
Right,
at
and what's the height?
height.
The sidewalls will be 9 feet
Did
above the seawall.
Did you hear that? The sidewalls will be 9 feet above the seawall. And it's going to be dug in a little bit.
It'll
Right,
be
and then how much of that 12 feet will be backed up into the cliff area there?
Correct.
I think his question was how much, Jim? How?
Well,
It'll all be set back in, except just the front face will be,
The architect is telling us that only the front face will be exposed, the rest of it will be dug
Okay.
The roof is definitely above.
in. Yeah.
and the roof is just a 412 pitch, so it's a very gentle,
Very much in top.
Yeah.
There's.
Yeah.
I saw it before. That's all.
Right. It was slow, so.
I didn't even try to kind of see when that line came
So just one last thing, Mr. Adams. You know, when I was out there on the property and looked down, obviously it's so steep that with it being backed up into the hill there, it's still, I mean, it doesn't look like the neighbors, because they're also steep as they look out, that the 9-foot high plus the pitch really won't impede much of a view from what I was able to see, which helps me understand a little bit more about the, you know, the L1 ordinance related to no structures, no non-conforming structures in the front yard more than 2.5 feet high. But in this instance, it seems like this is a, you know, it doesn't need to be literal in some way. So that's what I'm thinking. But so if somebody else has a different comment as they ask questions, I'd like some more thinking on that idea of the height being technically in violation of the 2.5 feet. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Euler. Yeah, and it does call for 2.5 feet, and I don't know how we measure that. Is that from?
It's going to be from the average height of the structure. So if it comes out and straight down, then we have the average height would be at 0, we measure up. And if it slopes down, then we take the average of the slope and measure up. But if she's got a 412 pitch on it, it's 12 feet wide, rises 4 inches. So it's going to be 9 plus 24 to be around 11 feet high at the peak of her, to start with. So if the sidewalls are even, it's going to be 2 feet or 24 inches above. So it will be under the 30 inches.
Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome.
As long as the rounded water there shows down lower than what the grade itself, and we wouldn't be over 12 feet over, I don't think that equals over
Right.
30.
Right.
Ms. Marshall, do you have any questions?
I just wanted to understand in terms of when you asked for 55% impervious level, is that including everything that's on this drawing right now? As I'm looking like on the west elevation, there's stairs coming down there by the garage. And you were saying stairs coming down to the lake. And I don't know if that's a patio next to the boathouse, sort of a square space next to the boathouse, which is just, I just wondered if all of that was included in your sort of estimate of the 55% need.
Yes, our estimate of the 55% impervious would include all impervious on the lot.
Okay. Okay. And can I ask quickly for the architect to identify herself, just for the record?
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's Lori
Roberts.
Roberts, ROBERTS.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions, Ms. Marshall?
That's it.
Mr. Osborne?
No, I have no question.
Mr. Manaway? You have any further comments, Mr. DeWitt?
My only comment is I understand part of the reason for the 55% is because the space between the road, the driveway going up is longer than normal. Normally we'd be at the 25 feet, which would allow less impervious surface. So I understand why we're approaching the 50 and going over. I would just ask that the architect would give us, and the landscaper, before the landscaper starts, a report back to the percentage that it's going to be. Because I would like to see it under the 55 if at all possible. Because we all know what's going to happen to the next BZA meeting when somebody comes in and wants 51 or 52 or 53, you know.
I have no problem with that. Can we give that to the building commissioner?
Right.
Okay.
And I'll distribute it to the board.
Okay.
Is all that going to be considered blacktop or all the already that?
Well,
It'll be a mixture of paver stone and concrete. So that's why the calculation is, the paver stone can be considered, is only considered at 50% impervious. So the calculations are a little bit tough until we have the landscaper
Okay, that's what
deal
I'm
with it as
going
well.
to be ordering that, I don't know if percentage changes, could change that. Oh,
Next time, do it as well. Next time, do it as well, we have a new design.
and another good reason why to check it because I agree with that.
That's all.
Any, go ahead.
I just like to commend you on the new design, because the old design, I don't think in front of this board would have worked.
Yeah.
With the setbacks, and I don't know who made that decision, whether it was Mr. Easter advised you or whoever, but I think that was a very, very nice move.
I kind of took that up, I called Lori, I just didn't sit well with me after,
Right.
I passed it off to Mr. Easter today, and talked to Kelly about it a little bit, and so ultimately we decided to try to come in, and my goal was, let's do it without variance. Now, we knew the boathouse was gonna be a problem, but what we really wanted to do was just have that single one to worry about, and just by the way everything's laid out in that lot, it's just not quite
Right.
possible.
Thank you for that comment.
Yeah.
My view is, you're gonna do construction on a home, you've got a lot already.
It's common in everything, you can.
You can't, I mean, it took a lot, but I mean, you reached as far as you, I appreciate you.
Mr. DeWitt, this is JD, do you have any concern with EMT being able to get back there with the north-south setbacks, being able to get back to Lakeside or anything like that?
After today, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Trees have been removed. It's just basically a straight shot in. So it should not be a problem.
Any other comments or questions from the those in attendance tonight? Yes.
I just wanted a little bit of
And
clarification.
what's your name?
I'm sorry, Eric Smith.
Pardon, please.
Eric Smith,
Eric Smith, okay.
the place to the north. Everything looks fine, but I just wanted a little clarification because of the height and the slope there down to the lake. There's a retaining wall on the plan, and I can't quite tell how far to the east that goes and how far dug in it is on the plans.
The way that retention wall is laid out, it basically comes to the point to where the current easement is, and then that angle starts the easement.
Yeah.
So that's gonna run right along that easement, and it'll actually stop, and you'll have I'm not a big fan of the way that wraps around. I would prefer that wall to stop there instead of making that square. That would be my preference. So that wall should stop, I'm hoping it's 12 feet back from the water's edge. I see. That's my hope. I don't know why, for some reason, they put that square in there. I don't know if it's for structure.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's for stability reasons, they needed that exterior wall there to hold something back. That could be part of it. I don't know the answer. But that would be a tall wall. That that front portion will drop down.
Maybe up to the north. I see. Yeah, it's just a concern because that's so scenic.
Yeah.
That's just a big scenic. Right.
That's the reason for the retention wall.
Yeah, right.
And getting to the point with retention walls is going to be, that's the next hurdle. Yeah.
But that was my only concern, but otherwise, I don't have any problem.
Any other questions or comments?
Could I just ask Mr. Smith to tell me what his address is, please?
I'm sorry?
What your address is, Eric?
My address?
Yes.
That one is 954 West Shore.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Comments? Questions? Ready to move to finding of facts? Just so we are on the same page, so you're asking for a 8-foot north side yard setback from the required 10. Asking for a 55% impervious coverage of the property from the required 50%.
Correct.
And to build an accessory in-ground boat house, the front yard.
Correct.
Okay, is everybody clear on what the variance is we're requesting? Everybody on the board clear? Okay, we'll move to finding of facts. Again, just remind everybody, if you vote no on any of these, you have to vote no on the variance. Question 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Mr. Udler.
Somebody say's not hearing you.
Are you hearing me, Mr. Udler?
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mr. McManaway?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Mr. Udler?
Yes.
Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mr. McManaway?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Mr. Udler?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne? Or Ms. Marshall? Ms. Osborne?
It's Mary, Tammy, and me. That dance a long time ago. Yes.
Mr. Osborne? Yes. Mr. McManaway?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. I would entertain the motion that we approve this variance
I'll second.
with the revisions. You're making a motion?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
And I'll second.
Mr. Osborne made the motion and Mr. McManaway seconded. Any further discussion? How do you vote on the variance, Mr. Udler?
Yes.
Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mr. McManaway?
Yeah.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I do have a question, demolition, where do we get a permit?
You can do that online or come into the office in Plymouth.
Okay, thank you.
The cost will be $25, and need to let us know when they're out there tearing it down so we make sure that foundation and everything's getting taken away.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
We have just one more petition on the agenda. 2020-011B. This is time for petition filed by King Dan and Van Buddy. Kenny, you want to present to us what we have?
Hey, I'm Ken Van Buddy. I own and reside at the property at 17101 State Road 17. About in 2007, I purchased 2 strips of land from Mr. Compost, Culver Academy, on the south and the north side of my property, 100 by 300, to build 24 by 40 building for storage. So 2007, hired construction to build that structure. We got a permit to build it. So recently I decided I need more storage space. So I'm looking to build.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's a good deal. That's impressive.
I'm going for a whole new look.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe you can take your picture. I'm not good at this.
No. Give me a second, I'll have you back.
You can move you.
There you go.
So yeah, here's what, I purchased this, and then purchased this, and then built this. And then now I'm looking to go 20 more feet this way, 28 feet out this way for more additional storage.
You got it now.
Excuse me?
Oh, you're right. Even help.
Yeah, so, first step was I had, Mr. Wood helped me, had to go through the process of making this one lot. So I had to file the petition or whatever, all I know is it's 1 lot. That's all done now, instead of 3 lots, I have 1 lot. It's because I would be crossing, that was still 3 different lots, my question would cross.
Right.
So now, when we go to get my permit now, I can find out, there should have been a variance for this building.
Correct.
I don't, Mr. Town Manager Johnson has looked everywhere, in meetings, in paperwork, and I think he even contact. I don't know if there was ever a variance. 2007.
That's when you built the
Yeah, so I know they got the building permits there.
Yeah.
So they got the building permit and built the structure, and then I forgot how many feet I'm.
Should be,
10 and 8.
I'm sorry, how many?
I don't know exactly how many feet I'm.
Could have been 25, but it was not, obviously, okay?
So like I said, I'm just going to expand here. What we have here is Academy, this is dead property that I know. So there's nothing there. I know Academy has no issues with this.
You have 10 feet.
Wait, what is it now?
That's 8 feet here. Is that-
Yeah, I was on the city. I didn't really limit you.
That's, I said, I haven't had to inspection to do it, and they had them, they got the permit, had somebody come out and inspect it, and
Yeah.
I never knew there was a problem until I'm trying to add on, and all of a sudden they're saying things not matching up.
Not that it mattered at all. We wouldn't never do
Well, I might have been, I'm trying to think if I was on the board then, I probably was. I don't remember.
Probably never filed.
Before you was, I think it was 2 or 3 before you.
It was Russ.
I think my.
Mike and Dean.
Russ Mason.
West Mason?
He was there 10 years. Yeah.
I know the director posted there between.
Yeah.
Judy and him.
Right, yeah, it was Russ.
Yeah, I don't think it ever came to
Yeah, I said Johnson looked everywhere, and I said I was in the work, I hired somebody to build it, and they got a permit and built it, and
Yeah.
there it is. So like I said, I've gone through motions to make all this one lot.
No, is there a building there on the south side?
Here?
No, well, yeah, over.
Oh, here?
No, just right there next to the.
To the garage, there wasn't a,
Yeah, right
Oh, there was. That was just a shed, old shed. It's
there.
moved.
That's coming down there.
That's
gone.
It's all prepped and ready. We up here building a month ago, and then we're ready to do this. But yeah, that building's already moved.
And what's on the north side, the other end?
Here, That's just some gravel and a couple of trailers.
Okay, you just had some stuff.
I've got an agreement with Mr. Tomlinson's Academy and Academies. I don't cut their hay, and they let me use this. And it's one of those, I'm not gonna cut your hay on both sides, and you can continue to just put your firewood over here and do whatever. I mow it to keep it nice for them, so. But, yeah. So that's what I'm at.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Benefetter? Mr. Hubler?
I had a hard time following all that, so I'll defer and wait if I don't think I'll have anything, but I'll let others ask their questions.
I didn't understand you. I'm sorry, Mr. Hubler.
Oh, it's okay. Not at this time.
Okay. Ms. Marshall?
It's a little hard to hear, you guys, but I just want to confirm that I understood that it looks like a little building on the edge of the main building. Was
Yes.
that torn down? So there's going to be.
That is gone. That is gone now.
Okay, so there'll be a 20 by 28. You have to understand, nothing's changing on my screen. All I'm seeing is one thing, so nothing's changing. So I have to follow it by hearing you guys. But that's gone, so the addition is going to be 20 by 28.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And that is going to be hooked on. Mr. Osborne, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I think that, you know, if that other building aren't being there, that, you know, how do you not let this happen? I mean, if he was trying to put a new building there, that could, you have to look at, you know, 25-foot required setback, but at this point, he's adding on to, you're actually adding on to.
Right, and we thought, you know, if there was an existing variance, it would already be approved since it's my property.
Right.
But then we get to dig and find out what kind of variance.
Yes.
So.
Well, maybe the builder didn't have a permit, just told me.
I saw a permit.
Jim, that doesn't happen in this county.
No.
Okay. Not anymore. Okay, not anymore. Okay, good. I just want to clarify.
Thank you.
Mr. McCranaway, do you have any
I'm
questions?
just a little confused on one issue. You said that property, you purchased that quite a while back. And you now recorded.
There were 3 lots there, Barry.
Now I understand, but when was the building that is there now that is allowed 8 feet higher than that variance, with that lot line?
That was in 2007.
2007. I bought that strip to put that.
I mean, actually, that building, though, it was actually put on that strip of property, didn't need any on setback as far as the lot.
No, that's correct. It was,
I think we're finding that now.
Right, and I mean, and this is not questioning who did it, whatever, I mean, that's here. I was just confused with the fact that the building, I understand some things slip on variance, you know, or whatever, the 8-foot setback, whatever. But for the fact that you got a property line between those two buildings, which is an accessory structure, on a piece of property with no primary structure under the property line.
I see what you're saying.
You know, there's a whole lot more soup being stirred up here than what.
Well,
And not now, you're correct.
Right, that's why I went through, I said,
And
I
so,
want to be there until I'm going to.
now, I know, law just has no reference to this. But by you, when you know, you request for the additional part on that building, I mean, in my mind, the variance would correct this, maybe already fine, but I was saying, honestly, you're adding to it, because it already met 25-foot setback from the backyard, this addition, but longer into your deed, but 8 feet on the top. Am I correct, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, he's extending the nonconformity, but he's not extending across the property line now, which was what we had to get corrected, and I'm glad that we did, because it took care of a many-year problem. So we got everything down into one lot. Now the only variance that he's asking for is the rear yard setback to meet the existing building.
Okay, that was, said 8 feet from the required 19 feet from the addition.
It's,
I'm sure that's a typo.
it is, it's a typo, it's 25 feet. It's an S1, so it's 25 feet.
I wish you could make sure.
So it's going from the 25 feet to the 8 foot.
Now do it for more.
Any comments from the audience? Okay, you ready to move to finding of facts?
Oh my God. You know that? Let's see.
Okay, question number 1. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Mr. Hughley.
Yes.
Ms. Marshall.
Yes.
Mr. Austin.
Yes.
Mr. McManaway.
Yeah.
And the chair votes yes. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Mr. Hughley.
Yes.
Ms. Marshall.
Yes.
Mr. Austin.
Yes.
Mr. McManaway.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Mr. Hughley.
Yes.
Ms. Marshall.
Yes.
Mr. Osborne.
Yes.
Mr. McManaway.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. I would entertain a motion that we approve this variance.
Second.
Moved by Mr. McManaway, seconded by Mr. Osborne. Any further discussion? If not, how do you vote on the variance, Mr. Hughley?
Yes.
Ms. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mr. McManaway?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Approval 5-0.
Thank you all, I sure appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
Trying to get it right.
didn't take care of it.
Thank you.
Okay, old business. Anything we need to discuss?
I I have nothing.
What's going on with the old, anything going on with the old city tavern property?
As you know, we were being sued at one point,
Yeah.
and that case has been dropped by the attorneys. So we're just in limbo, waiting till a point where we decide that we want to recoup our money, then we'll have to put it, collect our lien, foreclose.
Now, am I correct? The one house right next to the fire station, that was a different person. Same person owned it, right, or not?
No, different person.
Okay, different person. But the one up on College Avenue?
College was the same.
And that's all still connected somehow?
Yes, it's under the same, and we're every month putting new liens against that property with mowing and the upkeep on it. And he's allowing us to do that because it's an aggravation for us.
He's such a pleasure to work with.
What's the town, the city, they, Eagle Check, they gave that to the town, right?
We paid for their appraisal, and that's how we got it. We paid the town paid $12,500.
So
And they gave it to the town.
what, you know, it's like a great tax write-off for them, but what, is there any plans, Bill, to do anything with that?
Well, what we've been doing is during the renovation of the beach lodge, we've been storing all the playground equipment down there and all that. We're getting ready to start having discussions as to what we're gonna do with it. We know we need a new water well down there, and that's probably in the plans to put a part of the property. And then the rest of it, there's various things that we're talking about doing, like moving the police department down there. Probably have to razz the building's over 50 years old and not in good shape. Yes, it is. So, to be continued, over the next 6 to 12 months. We'll probably,
There'll be a game
you'll
plan going on.
be hearing some game plans.
All right, good. Okay.
Any other old business?
I got one thing I want to bring up for members. At that planning commission meeting the other night, they formed a committee that will be looking at a new zoning for like the academy or the institution or whatever. We've got a committee that will be going over some of the stuff. And I know, just mentioned as far as, like, have several members from the committee on the part of reviewing what requirements they might want to see as far as with the academy, which we have two different parts of that zoning, because we've got one in town as far as high requirements. And then we've got the academy, because the academy has to bring so many things for the BZA as far as approval and anything like that too. But anyway, to get to the point, that I would request as far as on this committee that we have one person from the BZA for on that committee. As far as, I think in the past, we failed to really have a lot of communication between BZA and the planning.
Are you on the committee?
I am not on the committee, and I knew we were kind of limited as far as what we could actually put on a committee, as far as, I can remember we've got two members of the planning commission already on this, which one of them is actually from the academy and from the planning commission. So we'd like to have somebody put in place. And Dan and myself here kind of talk, we're both on both, and there are two different plans.
So, Boo,
Ms. Marshall, would you be interested in being on that committee?
It's hard for me to hear Barry. I think he's just far enough away from a mic that I can't. It sounded like he was talking about a committee looking at variances for the academy, and then he wants somebody from BZA. Just maybe if somebody closer to the mic would fill me in on what he was saying.
All right, Boo, this is Chuck.
Okay.
what I'm looking at doing is taking the academy and making a new zone out of it, like we have our S1, R1, and all of that, where it would be an institutional, and they would have different restrictions and as the other other zones do, so that they have to come before the plan or the BZA or plan commission less times. So that, I mean, it's their property, you know, as long as it meets the state requirements. Most of the time, you know, I don't know that we've ever stopped anything that they wanted to build or the way they wanted to build it. So if we put that into an institutional zone, then they would have to come before the BZA less times.
Sure.
So that's what we're trying to look at.
And so who's on it now? You asked me to do this a long time ago, Chuck.
Yeah.
But I would, it's just so long ago, you forgot.
It's, no, I didn't forget. We have Jonathan, myself, Chester, Andy, and
Andy Stray, yeah, and if whoever we decide from this board.
From this,
is on there.
right.
I'm happy to do it. You know, if because I told you, Chuck, when you brought this up to me a while ago, I told you I would help you.
Right, okay.
Absolutely will.
Good member.
I think that's great.
Well, that's done. Well, I'll loop you in on the meetings, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Items of new business.
I'd like to share with you a plat. I can do it informally after the meeting. It's not really business, but I just like for you guys to look at a picture of that for project. I don't know if you want to do it now or what.
He wants us to take a preliminary look at a project that he has coming up. So
Go ahead and show us.
I think you can prevent it, we can't.
No, I'm not even asking for a decision. I just want to kind of feel if you guys are crazy or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
We don't have.
This is the former Allen Boathouse.
No, what are you talking about?
Oh, cool.
Oh.
not so cool, Boo, not so cool.
You got it.
Can you make me be able to see it, or?
Yeah, can we stop sharing the screen?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me see. I can bring up Beacon, but you couldn't see Beacon the last time, right?
No, I wasn't here in July. Maybe.
No,
Jake-
I'm talking about just
we're not,
earlier
you have to
when
stop
I had
sharing
up.
the screen.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
What I'm kind of toying with is, and we're in very, very preliminary stages, but maybe doing something like that and asking for overhangs.
For what? I'm sorry.
Overhangs on that.
Is it building?
Yes,
Now, these are two separate lots?
yes.
So this is all, and basically the size of the home, this is all in concrete now.
Right. But there are five
There are
lots,
different lots.
5 different lots
So they
there.
want to combine it
With
all.
three of them being across the street. Yes. There's a small one.
Amazingly enough, this crazy lot goes across.
Oh, because of the line.
I'm sorry, Jim?
This crazy lot goes across.
Yeah.
And there's no,
This is before the road was there, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
this is not good.
Well,
Now, they're proposing to build something on this lot down here,
correct,
but it's not going to be connected to the house.
correct. Those are
It's going to be a separate,
two separate lots, two separate parcels.
And what?
and are they taking up all that concrete?
Presumably, I'm sure they would.
But what are they building?
It would be one single-family residence. The only reason it's shown as 3 is because he did it for square footages.
It would be one single family residence.
And how many lots are these laying on?
One.
One lot. What is the total? Footage on the 61? You know what the total square footage of this lot is?
I don't.
No.
So Jim, the 24 by 30 is the existing home?
No, there's nothing
No,
there.
there's nothing there. There's
Nothing there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a concrete area.
I know okay, this is just on the concrete. So this is the house is here.
Yeah, that's the old one.
That's the old house, which they want to keep.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
then they want to,
Build a residence here. And the only reason it's depicted as three, I wish you would have taken it when Mr. Saxon did it.
taking all these lines out.
Yeah, yeah. But he did it so he could just rough.
So we take all these lines out. So this would be whole other residence.
Right.
Can you guys see that?
Well, he's trying to go to 25.
Alright, pull it up. Can you see what you can see?
And the 10 foot on the road.
Right, that's what he was doing.
And this is the old, okay, I'm sorry, I was
Yeah, you're
confused.
Do you know where they're talking about by any chance?
We can't see anything. We can't see anything.
No, yeah.
Just north of the public landing. It was the old, Allen Marine.
Yeah, I know what it is. We just can't see what you guys are talking about.
It's all concrete now.
Yeah.
So if you drive down there, you can see where all the concrete is. You would be able to look at this.
If somebody's proposing maybe to build something there, that's what Jim is just showing us. He's not presenting it, obviously,
No,
but
not
they're
at all.
showing what they're looking at.
Just kind of what we're looking at. Now, I was a little surprised when I looked at it. There's a really nice retaining wall in there, and it looks like it's fairly recent, like within the last 10 years.
So the one to the west.
Yeah, on the road.
Right on the road, right, yeah.
Because I remember, I hate to admit it, I hate to show my age, but from 62 to 64, I worked there in summers. And,
Well, Jim, you said to be like 8 years old, right?
I was, yeah, 5 years old. But when I was there, that was the wall of the building. But apparently they torn that out and put in a retaining wall, because it's a really nice retaining.
Can you see it now? Not sharing the camera?
No.
And I can give it to her.
Chuck, I've had the same picture up in front of me the entire meeting.
Oh,
It's never changed. So I
Oh.
don't feel it.
I hope it was a good picture.
It's the picture of the Groovy's residence, and it's all right because I had all my stuff printed out. So it's no big deal. But
One of the questions, and you know as well as I do, back then, nobody, with what we have with the lot in town with the oil and all that, and all. So what about the environmental concerns with that property? How would that be handled?
That's part of this project. We're probably going to do a stage 3, and then depending on what we get from that, do a stage 2, and then depending on what we get from there, go from there. Because, yeah, I expressed the same concerns.
Right.
They changed the oil in the boats, and they did all that stuff back then. And I was amazed when I looked at it the other day. When I was a kid, they had 2 railroad tracks that went from the inside of the building down into the lake. And they had a hoist on it, and they put the boat on the hoist, and then they lower them back into the lake. That's still there. With that depression in the concrete is still there. So that's the original floor on that building.
Are there any evidence of any drains or anything that go down?
No, there's no indication of that.
No, there's no, yeah.
But we would still be looking to do that.
Right.
Because that could be an issue.
Right. What should have been.
But that is, I'm sure that concrete's been there since 1940.
Right. It's still in pretty decent shape.
Yeah, amazingly enough.
Concrete never fits.
Okay, let's go ahead and finish the meeting here.
Yeah, I did.
And that's all right. And I asked you to go ahead and do that. Chuck, do you have anything for us?
Nothing new at this time.
Next meeting's September 17th. Assume we'll do it the same way as we're doing it right now.
That's the plan.
Okay?
The only thing that might change is you may be going to the beach lodge, but you'll know in plenty of time.
Okay. Same type of setup, so we can have both.
Yes.
Okay, nothing else? This meeting's adjourned. Speaking of the.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Speaking of the landing, what's the guy there on the north or south end? I see, pulling the house over here. Are they are going to get back?
Where are we talking about?
Just on the other, the south end.
Yes, they're digging foundation tomorrow.
What's that?
Because I don't know, maybe they're not going to build it.
No, they're digging foundation tomorrow.
They're not asking for any other.
I met with the builder today, and no.
Well, yeah. You know, I didn't ask for it. We,
And it's gonna have to be exactly the same. I told him that.
Right.